Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Brother Jonas, and the title of this video is Edom's Confusion, 18 Nations to over 196 Nations. Now, I'm making this video because most people think that all these nations that we have today has been the status quo, and that's not true. That's a lie that has been perpetrated by our oppressor and our enemy, the Edomites and Satan. The new world after the flood began with few nations, 18, too many by design of Satan and Edom, and then from many to one by Satan and Edom in these last days. You know, the New World Order. This is the kind of confusion that Edom likes to use to confound the masses or slaves. 18 original nations that the Most High give general focus on should be your foundation for helping you to understand the Bible more clearly. Remember, to understand the Bible, you must pay close attention to what is said in the scriptures and how it is said, and look up words you don't understand for better understanding. This is called studying. Let's go to Genesis 10, verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. The first sons born to Shem, Ham, and Japheth after the flood represent the first 16 of the original nations, or their descendants would make up those original nations. 16 nations in the beginning after the flood, and 2 more nations would be added later through Isaac, and that would be Esau and Jacob, or Israel, by the Most High. Yahweh counted the 18 nations in his word, but Esau or Edom would change things as he progressed on his quest for perdition. Genesis 10, verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. That is 7 sons from Japheth. Let's do the math. Verse 5. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, every one after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. Verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. 4 more from the sons of Ham. Verse 20. These are the sons of Ham, after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. Verse 22. The children of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram. 5 more added from the sons of Shem. Verse 31. These are the sons of Shem after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations. We have 16 nations here. Let's get the other 2. Genesis 25, verse 21. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, And she said, if it be so, meaning if I am to have these babies by your will, why am I thus? Why am I going through all this pain? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people, meaning 2 different kinds of people, shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Verse 25, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Verse 32, these are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations, in their nations, and by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. Think of this as a movie, and the 18 nations are the stars in the movie, with Esau and Jacob being the 2 main characters. The other tabernacles or houses or sub-nations such as Ishmael, which are the Arabs, Moab, which is China, Ammon, which is Japan, think of them as other caste members. Edom has divided lands and people and have stolen identities and have changed names of people and places as they conquered around the world to create confusion to keep the truth away from the true Israelites primarily, and the servant class of people, you. To sweeten the deal, they invented racism with Johann Friedrich Blumenbach and others like him to further divide and conquer and make their people, so-called white people or Caucasians, feel comfortable in their evils toward other people and nations. The Most High is not about racism, but he is about nationalism, meaning he put the people in their own lands after the Tower of Babel, after their tongues, after their nations. He also told Israel not to give their sons and daughters to the other nations, and not to receive the nation's sons and daughters for their children. This was for a holy purpose. Deuteronomy 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. Now, why did he say that? Verse 4, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of Yahweh be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. The Most High knew that mixing nations with his would turn his weak-minded people away from him and his ways. The Most High has an important purpose for his people. Verse 6, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim. Yahweh thy Elohim had chosen thee to be a special people unto him, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Israel has been chosen to be a special people unto Yahweh, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. If the nations or heathen married one another, the Most High didn't care. He also intends for Israel to be above all nations on the earth. That's not racism. That's the Creator's choice. That's the Creator's design. Be careful. Only Satan and his children are the ignorant among the Israelites, and the heathen will call the Most High racist, a word that was made up by Edom in the 18th century. Also understand who has controlled and or made up the dictionaries and other books that give definitions of things. Edom. Edom gives some truth, but always mix it with lies. that makes him a deceiver or a devil. We have to discern the truth and pluck it out from the lies as we seek to grow. The word race is in the Bible 5 times. 2 times in the Tanakh, once in the Apocrypha, and 2 in the Second Testament, or what the Christian world calls the New Testament. It's a mistranslation in the Apocrypha. Look, let's go to Sirach 26, verse 20. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thy own seed. This is talking about marriage and having babies. Trusting in the goodness of thy stock. So thy race, which thou leavest, shall be magnified, having the confidence of their good descent. The word race here should be people or descendants or children or nation or seed. In all other times that race is stated in the Tanakh or in the New Testament, it refers to running. Sirach 26:21 should read, so thy people which thou leavest shall be magnified. So thy descendants which thou leavest shall be magnified. So thy children which thou leavest shall be magnified. So thy nation which thou leavest shall be magnified. So thy seed which thou leavest shall be magnified, having the confidence of their good descent. All these make more sense than the word race, which refers to running. Remember, race, as it pertained to race today, was not invented until the 18th century. Nationalism. Nationalism is an ideology, and movement characterized by the promotion of the interests of a particular nation, especially with the aim of gaining and maintaining the nation's sovereignty, self-governance, over its homeland. Nationalism holds that each nation should govern itself, free from outside interference, self-determination. That a nation is a natural and ideal basis for a polity, and that the nation is the only rightful source of political power, popular sovereignty. It further aims to build and maintain a single national identity based on shared social characteristics such as culture, language, religion, politics, and belief in a shared singular history. All this is found in Wikipedia. Remember, racism was made up by Satan and his children to make righteousness look evil by subverting what the Most High intended. Racism is the belief in the superiority of one race over another, which often results in discrimination and prejudice towards people based on their race or ethnicity. The use of the term racism does not easily fall under a singular definition. Can you see how the creation of race or racism is contrary to the Most High and seeks to undermine nationalism in the Most High's plan? Deuteronomy 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim. Yahweh thy Elohim have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Now, someone would say, that's racism. You're a racist. A racist. This is the turning of things upside down by Edom and Satan. Isaiah 29, verse 15. Woe, or destruction, unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us? And who knoweth us? Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. So the turning of their things upside down in this world will make people think that the creator of heaven and earth did it. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? The ideology underlying racism often includes the idea that humans can be subdivided into distinct groups that are different due to their social behavior and their innate capacities, as well as the idea that they can be ranked in an inferior or superior. Historical examples of institutional racism include the Holocaust, the apartheid regime in South Africa, slavery and segregation in the United States, and slavery in Latin America. And there's a whole lot being left out here, especially what went down in all of Africa and in other nations around the world. Racism was also an aspect of the social organization of many colonial states and empires. And we know the colonial states and empires reached all around the world into every nation on this planet. Or should I say every continent on the planet. Edom's and the world's description of a nation is not the same as the Bible's description of a nation given in Genesis chapter 10. By Genesis chapter 10's description, America and many other so-called nations are not truly nations. Let's examine that. A nation is a stable community of people formed on the basis of a common language, territory, history, ethnicity, or psychological makeup manifested in a common culture. A nation is distinct from a people and is more abstract and more overtly political than an ethnic group. It is a cultural, political community that has been conscious of its autonomy, unity, and particular interest. So a nation is a stable community of people formed on the basis of a common language, territory, history, ethnicity, or psychological makeup manifested in a common culture. We're good so far. A nation is distinct from a people. That's not true, according to the Bible. A nation is distinct from a people. That's not true. A nation is made up by a family of people that share genealogy or ancestry and is not more abstract and is not more overtly political than an ethnic group. Let's look at the Bible's description again. Genesis 10, verse 31. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, or they speak the same language, in their lands, the lands that was given to them, after their nations. You see, they're being called a nation because they have the same families, they speak the same languages in their lands. So after their families, meaning genealogy and or ancestry, so-called Americans or any of the made-up nations don't all share the same genealogy or ancestry as it pertains to the original 18 nations that the Most High emphasized in Genesis. Edom and Satan sought and seek to dilute and water down and weaken the truth with the ultimate goal of destroying the Israelites and the heathen. We can see the power behind dividing a handful of nations of 18 into over 196 and dab it with the creation of racism. It gives you a solid foundation for global domination by a few over many. Hopefully, you also understand what a nation really is and not what Edom or the Edomites say it is. And with that, I say shalom.